Hi, and welcome to Moose Court. Today we're in Judge Middleton's small claims court. We have a lady that's suing a mechanic. Her car is on its last leg. It's really old and it's not in very good shape. She took it in to get some things fixed. Now, it seems like she's suing him for everything else that's wrong. Tell me what you think in the comments, and here we go.
Good afternoon. You guys are here for small claims court. We have two cases set for this afternoon at 3 o'clock. One of the cases is entitled Denise Longacre versus Motor Car Specialties, which is owned and operated by Daniel Bent. Mr. Bent is here and Ms. Longacre is here. But we do have both parties here on our other matter, so we're just going to do this like an old-fashioned trial with people on each side. So Ms. Longacre, would you come have a seat right here on the plaintiff side? Mr. Bent, would you have a seat over here? I have to confess, I had trouble figuring both of these out. And Mr. Bent dropped off some documents about half an hour ago. And I just saw them a few minutes ago. And they provided a copy of Miss Longacre, and so she hadn't seen him either. All right, let me tell you all that you're here at 3B District Court for a small claims case. All right, will you both please raise your right hand? You both swear or affirm any testimony that you're about to give in this matter will be true to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, well, Ms. Longacre, you're the plaintiff, and the plaintiff has the burden of proof and going forward with the proof. So let's take this and
Okay, and
just a minute.
Oh, excuse me.
I'm trying to get my cases. Mr. Ward's case is quite fat. In this case, the claim is for $5,977 under the $7,000 limit. This is either a 2006 or 2008 Pontiac with 277,000 miles on it.
That's wrong, sir.
All right. Okay. All right. Tell me why you believe Mr. Bent owes you $5,977.
On December 2nd of 2024, I brought my car into a motor car specialist to have a thermostat changed, and my window rolled up. Probably his grandson was the one that was doing the job. So let's jump forward to when I started having trouble with the vehicle. On 1/14 of 2025, I was in my driveway. When I started the car, white smoke started pouring out of the tailpipes and shaking. So I called Dan, and he said it was a blown head gasket and quoted me $1,750 to fix it. On 1/18, went to pay half of the job, and Dan told me his shop only used green antifreeze. My car requires orange. Now here is where the trouble stemmed from. Green antifreeze was put in my vehicle when had thermostat installed. I insisted he used orange. That's when he told me how orange gunks up. It says right on where the antifreeze goes, Dexcool. Mixing the two will cause all kinds of engine problems, including a blown head gasket and other gaskets throughout the vehicle. So I didn't know that on December 2nd. I took my Pontiac to motor car specialist to get my window rolled up. Oh, this is another. I asked who that was, and it was told it was Dan Bent's grandson. Thought nothing of it. And I really wanted to know if his grandson was even licensed to work on my vehicle.
I don't know if you need a license to put antifreeze in somebody's car.
Well, he changed the thermostat.
Or that, but if he's working under a mechanic. I guess we'll see as we go further. All right, tell me what Mr. Bent says. Does this car, it was either one place said 2008, one said 2007, with 277,000 miles on it,
It's 227.
227
And
miles.
before I brought that car in, the car was running like a good car. I have a bunch of receipts showing that, you know, the car has been very well taken care of. It's been serviced when it needed to be. You know, so on, let's see, on,
Well, let me skip ahead here.
okay,
So it's your contention that somehow he mixed green and orange antifreeze and caused your car to fail.
yes, he even,
So you're asking for $88 back from thermostat, $100 for repairing hose, $79.77 for diagnosis, refund from bad head, $1,750, $3,959 for a used engine, for a total of $5,977.25. Is that how you got the number that you got?
yes, and then I don't, if I didn't include filing fee.
Yeah, we'll deal with that separately.
All right.
So what's $88 back from thermostat?
Well, Your Honor, when I first filed these papers, I was a little emotional. I feel like the job that I paid for was not done properly. I do have pictures of,
All right, well, I didn't ask you that.
okay, I'm sorry.
You're asking for $6,000 for this 2006 car with 227,000 miles on it. I doubt the car is worth this much, but you threw these numbers to the wall and hoped they would stick. So let's see if we can figure out what they are. $88 back from thermostat. What is that?
That's when the whole problem started with the car. I believe he mixed my coolants.
Okay, I understand that, but why do you want $88 back from the thermostat?
Like I said, Your Honor, I was a little emotional when I did file these papers. I was highly upset that my car came back the way it did. I've
All right.
taken very good care of this car.
All right, now, so those don't make sense. You put a new thermostat in there, which you paid $88 for.
Mhm.
Did you pay him for it?
Oh, yeah, here's my receipt
All
right
right, and
here.
then you paid $100 for replacing the hose that got damaged,
Yes.
and $79.77 for his diagnosis.
Well, I went to a mechanic in Marcellus and had a diagnosis put on the vehicle.
All right, and that's in there. All right, and then you want $1,750 refund from bad head.
That gasket job.
Did you pay him
I did.
$1,750?
Yes, I did.
All right, and then you want a whole new engine.
Well, actually, sir, it's a used motor.
All right, so you're asking for $3,959.25 for an engine. Is that true?
Yes.
Yeah, let's skip ahead. You went to Marcellus. And there's another report in here from another shop. See if I can get to that. And that was, oh, that's Dan's bill. Chapter 2 Customs in Marcellus. Invoice amount $79.77. That's for inspection. So they did a diagnostic smoke test, issues found a vehicle, EGR tube not bolted on correctly, injectors not set in holes. Smoke test shows smoking counter, the valve cover and dipstick. Mixed green coolant with the Dex Cool and made mud. Intake bolts loose. Bracket missing from brake side of engine cover. Can't fully know what is broken or not right inside the engine since the head gasket service. Everything on the outside could mean that something on the inside is not correct, not telling unless you tear down and look inside. So he did sort of an analysis and didn't charge you very much for it. So that was this guy. Who is the person at Chapter 2 Customs?
His name is Adam. He's the owner. I'm sorry, I don't have that information right now. But he did all three of the estimates for me.
So now I can't tell what he did, whether he took the antifreeze out.
He didn't touch anything, sir,
All right.
because he just left it. He left the bolts the way they were. He's left everything. I asked him what it would cost me to flush the motor, and he told me a couple $100.
All right, buddy. So you're the one that told him that it mixed red and.
No, he's seen it. You know, I even have pictures.
All right. So he did look at the coolant.
Oh, yes.
Some older cars, GM cars, use this Dex Cool. It's orange. And they don't recommend that you mix that with other types of coolant. Mr. Bent provided some pictures here, what he did. All right, so you want the money back for your thermostat, the money back for your hose, the money back for the head gasket replacement, and a brand new or a new used engine to install in your car. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right. Do you ever have a blue book valuation on what your car is worth?
No.
All right, Mr. Bent, her case, make a minute here. I think I might have the other guy in the waiting room. Mr. Ward, just have a seat. We're doing another case and you can watch it and then we'll come to yours in a minute.
Okay.
I'll turn your, well, all right. I'll mute your camera or your phone. Oops.
At this point, Judge Middleton accidentally mutes the microphone, and it's muted for quite a while, but I think it was a blessing in disguise because the plaintiff, I got the impression, just kept saying the same thing over and over again and trying to beat up the mechanic and the judge. So now we'll pick it up where Judge Middleton realizes his mistake and he kind of recaps what happened.
All right, we should be all right. Sorry about that. Bunch of silence. All right. That must have been really boring to watch all this without being hear what being said. Has to do with the plaintiff's allegation that the mechanic mixed two kinds of coolant, making a congealed mess of her coolant and ruining her engine. She had 227,000 miles on it. All right, so Mr. Bent, you had a chance to look at the pictures. And once she left, did you ever see the car again?
She brought it back over. That's when we found out that this tube here had the crack in it. And I told her that before I went any further to figure out if there was anything going on, we needed to fix that. She says, well, I don't have the gas money to keep running back and forth over here. So I says, well, give me a couple days so I can get a tube, one of these hoses, and then we'll go from there.
Well, she just lives on Douglas Street.
He
or-
never-
Exactly,
What?
exactly.
I'm
He
sorry.
never called me.
Okay.
How am I supposed to know that he's got the stuff?
She was supposed to call me in like 2 or 3 days.
All right, so,
Anyways,
I did
all
call
right,
him.
stop. Only one person can talk at a time.
anyways, I never received a call from her
Hmm.
and I forgot about it. I did. Anyways, if she would have came back, I would have taken care of any complaints because I've always taken care of customers. I always have, even if it's like what they call a gray area where, you know, I really don't think there was anything I did to do with it, but I went ahead and take care of it
All right,
because this
so you
hose
never
right,
worked on the car again. You ordered a part
yeah,
and then,
the part come in about 3 days later.
you didn't call her and she didn't call you and she never
No.
came back.
Well,
All
I
right,
did call him on the 31st and talked about the,
stop. I'll give you a chance to speak. We're not
Okay,
around
I
the kitchen
apologize.
table. We are in an actual courtroom. And this is a lesson for our next two people when they come up. All right, so the bottom line is, once you did the head gasket and the coil and she left with the car, you never serviced it again after that.
No, she was supposed to bring it back and she didn't. And then I get the papers in the mail and I'm like going, well, gee, she didn't have the money, you know, to bring it over. But yes, she went out to AutoZone, paid $90 for a hose I got for $30 or $40. And then took it over to Marcellus, drove it to Marcellus. I'm like, why didn't you take it to a local, somebody local in Three Rivers instead of clear over to Marcellus? Kind of odd, you know?
Well, I don't know, but I don't know that he replaced it. I don't think he did. Who replaced that piece of hose?
I did at the AutoZone.
Okay,
That's where I met this gentleman. He come out and he looked at my car. And that's when he told me he found all that stuff wrong. And that's.
oh, so this guy from Marcellus just happened to be at AutoZone?
He just happened to be at AutoZone.
All right, did you drive it over to Marcellus or did you give this assessment right then?
I did take it to Marcellus. Cause he noticed all this little stuff just by looking at it for 5 minutes. I was gonna just drop all this until it just, I mean, here's an O-ring that was sitting on the motor. I mean, it's just a shoddy job all around. I wanna know what the blue goop is.
What's the status of the car right now?
It's out there and it jerks, it runs like crap, it's still, you still have exhaust fumes coming in. I mean, when you're stopped at the stop sign, it just wants to chug. It's not running, it was way better before I even brought it to Dan. And I was the one that told him it needed a coil because I had taken I don't know, one of those diagnostics that AutoZone give you.
So some of those things, I don't know I'm no mechanic. Has the car been overheating?
No, the car is never overheated.
All right, what you're repairing was the cooling system originally. Well, you had to take stuff out of the cooling system to do the head gasket job. Now the car runs, but would the cooling system affect the way the car runs?
No, not really, no. No.
She said stuff is
If she
coming out of
could-
the exhaust.
If she could bring it back to me, I could take care of these things. There's not much wrong with it, really. And as far as the O-ring, that's one of the old O-rings from one of the injectors that I replaced, put new O-rings on. And as far as the cover, there's a bracket that goes on the very back side of the exhaust manifold that helps hold that up. That was not there to begin with. That's why it's not there now.
Oh, my.
You can't put something back on that wasn't there to begin with, unless I go out to the boneyard and try and find a 3.8 with this special bracket. And as far as the smoke coming out of the, when you take the valve oil cap off, that's going to happen when you run a smoke machine through the intake system. And if there's any intake valves open, it's going to come up and it's going to go through the entire engine.
Miss Longacre,
Mhm.
are you willing to allow him to try to rectify these problems?
I would be, but, you know, there's this issue about this blue goop between the head.
Well, those are things he could look at.
I really don't think that the head gasket was changed at all. It leads me to believe that. You know, I have head bolts that aren't down. I have head bolts. You heard the guy say, I mean, I would never bring in something that wasn't true in here under oath.
Well, I believe you believe what you're saying. I don't know whether it's accurate or not. You're not a mechanic. He's under oath, you're under oath. You're calling him just a stone liar that he never replaced your head gasket at all. He also testified under oath he replaced it with the same kind of coolant. And you have the burden of proof, and you filed a claim in anger where you want him to buy you an entire new engine, new to your car, for $3,500. He contends he didn't do anything wrong. B, this engine's got $227,000 on it, and your car isn't worth $6,000. If this was an insurance claim, no insurance company would pay this. They would they'd total your car and give you what the value of the car was. And I don't know what the value of a Pontiac, what is it, a G6?
Yes.
With 227,000 miles on it is. All right, so here's your options. We can adjourn this a couple of weeks, and you can allow him to try to rectify the things that you say are wrong. Or I can make a ruling here today.
How can I know that that blue goop is, not part of the head gasket?
I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah, there's blue goop, and why is there the goop? You know, blue goop is used to seal stuff in between. I have a little
We're
knowledge.
getting in the weeds here.
I have a little knowledge of cars.
All right. Sometimes a little knowledge is a dangerous thing. All right, Mr. Bent, are you willing to try to rectify these problems?
Yeah, sure.
All right, what's your choice, Ms. Longacre?
Anything to get my car running the way it was before I even brought it to them. I would like the coolants flushed because it is thick in there. They never flushed the system out when they did the new head gasket. They never changed the oil. They never changed the spark plugs. All that should be done.
Well, you didn't ask him for that.
It should have been done.
Well, that's a charge for that. You didn't, I'm about to give you 0 So you can either adjourn this for a couple weeks and let him try to fix it,
We'll adjourn,
or
sir.
you can get zero because you haven't met your burden of proof. So we'll allow him to try to rectify it and then see if we can get somewhere. That's unreasonable. He should have changed your spark plugs. He should have changed your oil. You didn't hire him to do that. He comes to your house and picks you up. He gets a part to fix what was fixed. This is an old car. He put the starter on it. He didn't charge you for it. And you're still driving it. And it's got quote unquote blue goop. I'm not sure what that means. All right, today is March 24th. I'm gonna continue this to April 7th. To allow Mr. Bent to try to rectify the things that you are unhappy with. And you're willing to do that?
Yeah, I'm not gonna go through and flush the antifreeze.
Yes.
You know, I'm gonna state that right off the bat, because I've already done what she wanted.
Well, there are other issues. She says maybe you could
Yes.
put a diagnostic
Yes.
tool on it and see what's what.
Yeah,
For example,
I don't have a problem with that, okay?
if it's only firing on, well, I don't know, we'll see. She's not happy with it. She wants it wasn't running good when she brought it in. She wants it back to the condition before the head gasket change. It was only running on 4 or 5 cylinders at that point. All right, we're gonna continue this to April 7th at 3 o'clock. When can she bring it in?
This week here, I'm pretty busy.
Well, there's not a lot of time between now and
Yeah.
April 7th.
Yeah, I'd probably put it down for like next Monday. They should
All
bring
right,
it
can
in.
you deliver the car next Monday?
Yes.
If I get time in between, then I'll give her a call so we can get it in earlier if somebody cancels or something else changes.
All right, we'll revisit this on April 7th at 3 o'clock. See where we're doing. If anybody has anything else they want me to look at, file it with me before that time.
Tell me what you think in the comments. Here's what I think. I think this lady thinks that somebody else has to lose for her to win. I think a lot of the problems that she's talking about were already there. Mechanic seems like a reasonable guy, and he's been trying to tell her to bring it back, and he'll take a look at it, but she wouldn't do that. She jumped to conclusions. He seems very calm and rational. Her, not so much. So again, tell me what you think in the comments, and thanks for watching.